greater riches, esteemed the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures of Egypt. For he had respect, again please get this, he had respect to the recompense of reward. When David took Bathsheba, he didn't have respect to the recompense of the punishment, the cost. He didn't think about ahead of time what it might do. Listen, what happened to David was worse than his worst thoughts could have ever been. He could not have imagined the full web, like a spider web that he had sewed, that caught so many people. I've seen people in the last 35 years of my ministry who got involved in adultery or immorality, and these words come from their mouth. David did it. Am I better than David? What do? They're using what David did as a way to justify their sins. And that if David were in his grave, I think he rolled over a lot of times with that. He's not there. I believe he's with the Lord. David repented in Psalm 51. But the repentance got him back with God, but it never fixed what happened, while he was gone. I said to you about the prodigal. This is going away from this text, but it got in his head that he was missing out on the good life. Satan got in his head that he could do better. And so, what's he do? He goes to his father. Said, hey, come on, Dad, give me my inheritance. I'll go off and I'm going to, have a good time. Father gave him the inheritance. He goes off and leaves his father. He's down in the world, and he's living it up, party, until he's finally broke. And then there comes a famine in the land. We know he's working for somebody out there. He's feeding pigs. And he said he would have even eaten the husk of the corn that he was feeding to the pigs. That's how hungry he was. Was that a bad decision for him to leave home? Very bad. But he had to make another decision. What was it? He repented. He said, I was wrong. I will rise and go to my father. He said, I'll be like one of his servants. I'll listen to him. When he was there in the first place, he wasn't as a servant. He was ruling over the servants, actually. But he came down. And I'm glad the Father received him with open arms. Amen. And he said, I will rise and go to my Father. Note back in Hebrews, though. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. If you know, I don't mean think, I don't mean know, but if you know that Jesus Christ is with you in everything you do, then do you need to be afraid of anybody or anything? If God be for us, what Scripture say? Who can be against us? And we've got to live by faith. Looking on with me in the same chapter, talking about people of faith, people who made and the choices they made. Look at verse 36. Others had trials of cruel mocking and scourgings, moreover of bonds and imprisonment. Every hurtful thing they could do to them, they did. They were stoned. They were sawn asunder. They were tempted, were slain with a sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute. Are these unbelievers? Are these people of faith? Are they people of little faith? They're people of tremendous faith. Faith that we can conceive. Modern preachers tell you if you have enough faith, you're going to have this, you're going to have that. God will give you this, God will give you that. Well, did those people have that kind of faith? Listen, I'm not talking about positive thinking. I'm talking about thinking about the only positive one. What's his name? Jesus. They didn't care what happened to them. They were concerned about pleasing him. But they were destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. And as I made reference this morning, it was either in Sunday school, there are preachers that say that these people didn't have the full picture of that they were lacking faith. They wrest the scriptures to what? Their own destruction. True faith says, whatever the Father does or allows or even causes is for my good, and it will ultimately work out for my good. And it doesn't say in Romans 8 we hope, it says we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, them that are called according to what? His purpose. The choices we make, though, and of whom the world was not worthy, they wandered in deserts, in mountains, in dens and caves of the earth, and these all having obtained a good report through faith. To what extent do you really believe God? Are you willing to drink whatever's in your cup? Can you pray, Father, let this cup pass from me? Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. That's faith. See, if you say, let this cup pass from me, let this cup pass, you pray that every day for 20 years, well, there's no faith there. It's when you say, thy will be done, that the very thing you lose your life, when you find it, it comes to you. Because you let God be God. That's what faith, you've got to believe that he is, and your reward of them that diligently seek it. These great witnesses, chapter 12 starts with, they're like the cheerleaders around us, trying to get us to go onward forward. Look in verse 2, as we run this race, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. That means we're trusting whatever the Lord does is going to be okay. We're looking to him for who, for the joy that was set before him, endured the cross, despised the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the Father. What potential joy do you have when you leave this life to hear the words, well done, and to see Jesus smile? Will that be a joy? How long will that joy last, dear friends? Forever. What's that compared to the temporary pleasures that Satan offers us? Go back to Proverbs 23 sometime and read it. Everything Satan offers you is temporary. But what God gives you lasts forever. And if we suffer with him, that takes faith to do that, we shall also reign with him. But we're looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despised the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the Father. And when you get to feeling sorry for yourself and thinking life is too hard, consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners. If you don't think about what Jesus went through, what they did to him, consider him. It says, lest you be what? Weary and faint in your minds. What ought to be the driving force that allows us to keep going and not to quit, not to give up on Jesus? Because what he did for us. Consider him. That's like I like that song. Jesus, keep me near the cross, hoping, trusting ever that you realize what Jesus did for you. And God that spared not his own son, ultimately, we're going to have everything. But it's not in this life. I was saying to Chris earlier, it says in Romans 8, I quote it to you often,